All right, next up. All right, so I got this Mamma Jamma on here. I don't remember if I made a video of it or not. It just was a Facebook Marketplace available wheelchair or mobility scooter to lift. Well, I thought it'd be great for being able to haul, pressure washers and things like that, or real heavy trash can full of stuff, and it has been. But I also heat the house with firewood, right? See all the pile of firewood over there? Well, it's not the first time I've had a massive dead tree. That's what I use. I don't cut down any live trees, so. I'm not getting any younger. And lifting those giant logs from some of these trees into here is getting to be I don't want to injure myself situation. Well, I got 3 of these robot arms over the course of time. They were all at one auction. This one's a 250-pound lift capacity. The 350-pound lift capacity one I put into my full-size van works great, and exactly what you would think. If you want to lift pressure washer, anything up to 350 pounds, and you can manage to tie a rope on it, it'll lift it and rotate it then into the van. So that's perfect. But this is dirty old logs and in the woods, and this UTV is the perfect way to get firewood out of the woods. But I'm not wanting to lift those. Well, what am I trying to say? The method I use is I lift the logs, lift the logs into the bed, then come down here, put the logs someplace over on the gravel where you can split wood no matter what weather it is without getting, totally muddy. They're ready to split then, kind of thing. So there's lots of times though I want to put stuff in this bed and I don't have any way to get it up here high. And I've seen YouTube videos where they take a Harbor Freight winch and somehow mount that, but that's a lot more work, and I already had this. So I'm not wanting to lift 2,000 pounds. I'm wanting to lift just one log at a time, which might be, I don't know, probably maximum of 100. So here's the plan. I'm just sitting there scheming and contemplating. What am I gonna do? How's this gonna make sense? Here's what I come up with. There's the dimensions of this particular bed and where the bolts are. Amazingly, almost this whole thing is plastic. There's just a metal runner over there and something in the middle. Well, all these bolts that you see right there are what go to that. So I'm mapping those out on here. And here's what I'm thinking. That's not where the arm goes anyway. It goes in this corner. This is not weatherproof. I don't want to leave that on here all the time. I just want to be able to put it in here when it's time to lift really heavy stuff. So what I think is the way to proceed, at least this makes sense to me, I had also a sheet of 3/4 inch marine grade plywood laying there because I was gonna restore that ski boat that I decided and I sold it, but I had already bought the plywood. So that is available, and marine grade plywood should be perfect for this. What I'm gonna do is cut a piece that almost exactly fits this bed shape, right? I'm gonna replace all those bolts. I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bolts total with longer ones. And then imagine that plywood is pinned down to the bed now by those bolts that mount the plastic bed onto the metal frame. So everything's solid. But then before I screw it down, I'm going to put T-nuts or their equivalent on the bottom underside, just in the places that mount this robot arm thing. So when I want to mount the robot arm, I just lift it in here and screw the bolts down into the T-nuts. Bada bing. So it doesn't go through the bed at all. And again, since we're only talking about lifting a maximum of 250 pounds, which I don't think I'll ever find a log that big, I think the plywood should easily be able to handle that if it's pinned down to this bed flat. And because that isn't weatherproof, and by the way, I'm not going to run it to the vehicle power either. I have a 12 volt battery, actually the one that came out of that ski boat, laying around, and a battery box, so that'll just sit in that. So when and if I want to load the big logs, yes, part of the bed space will be taken up by the robot arm and the battery box, but I don't care. That'd be about 2 logs worth, but I want it to lift them, so I'm willing to make extra trips up and down the hill to get logs for not having to lift them. So that's the plan. Cut that plywood to fit, mark all the holes, get replacement bolts long enough for whatever that thread pattern is. I believe they go into tapped holes. I need to verify that though. And anywho, round up any necessary hardware and make sure I have T-nuts, and I need to get that exact distance figured out so I'm not driving those things into the plastic bed when I put them in the plywood. So round up the hardware and proceed. The rest of it should be easy peasy. I'm gonna try to make some mods on this thing too. Well, not mods, but I believe you can adjust the height of this. I don't know if it's the maximum height. I want the maximum height for this arm. I'm gonna adjust the angle here too. There's one of these turnbuckly thingies. I'm gonna make sure that that's pulled all the way in to get maximum height out of this thing, because it was a struggle to get things like pressure washers into this space, the distance between the hook and the floor. Also, the ribbon cable that comes out, and that's not what you call it, the nylon strap that comes out of these things, I don't know that it has enough on the spool. I have to see how far it'll drop. So the combination of making that as high as it'll go and making sure I can reach stuff with the length of the nylon strap in there. The point of that all is, what I want to be able to do is get some skidding tongs big enough for 18-inch logs, maybe even the 24-inch logs if I can fit it. But they take up a lot of space between here and there, and I need to be able to drop the log when I get it up here. You know, you may need to be able to lift it past the height of the floor before you can swing it in, type of thing. So got a little bit of fiddling to do with the arm and whatnot, but that's the overall scope of the project. And hopefully I can make a lift mechanism that'll lift anything up to 250 pounds into this bed easily, but I can also remove it very easily with 3 bolts and remove it to keep it weatherproof and out of harm's way. Let's get going. Okay, moving along. The robot arm tested out just fine. And it looks good. It'll sit right here in the corner, and I like the reach of the rope. No, the nylon, with the nylon strap. Everything's kosher, I think. I ordered some log tongs, like I said, that'll go on the end of it. I think it's all gonna work, so I'm gonna proceed, get this thing laid out and cut, and then I'm gonna paint it because I have some black acrylic paint because I don't care. And I ordered all the bolts and hardware. They arrive tomorrow, theoretically, from Amazon. So I might as well get the piece totally cut, marked out, holes drilled, painted black, and ready for the hardware to arrive. Then it should just be slap a few bolts in and it's ready to try. Well, proof of concept. That fits in like it's supposed to, and it's 3 little dimples. I did all right. Usually my layout skills are not that good, but that's an exact fit. So now, I think I mentioned there are 7 bolts. They're on order. I'm gonna get those holes drilled and get this thing painted black. And I guess I'll stick the robot arm in here in the back and mark out the positions of its holes too. I may drill a smaller diameter hole. The plan was to put a 3/8 inch 16 pitch thread T-nut on it because that's plenty big. There's no way that would ever rip through the plywood. At least not at the weight capacity that we're talking about. So it should be good. Yeah, let me get on with it. All right, here's proof of concept. Wow, I don't know if I call it that much stuff, but the general looks of the thing. It's on. So there's Mr. Controls. Nothing's bolted down, so I'll probably tip this right on out of here. Yeah. Back it up a little. Down. Give this a help. All right. That's the general idea. That Velcro's up there. I think that's going to work. I haven't tried to extend the arm up to get it any higher. I think that will be enough as it is. You got to remember there's going to be a tongs down here grabbing a log. And I want to minimize the distance from the center of the log to the top of the arm, but well, you get what you get. But I think this will do her. Simulated log. Boop boop. Hooked on there. Not the fastest thing in the world, but I don't care. The plan is this is for big logs. You just don't want to have to lift 30 of them. Kill yourself. And actually the wife can do it now by herself, I think. Cram it up there. Rotate Mr. Log right on into the bed. Then you can lower it down, drop it off the tongs, scoot it where you want. You know, you could probably get, I don't know, 4 of them in there. 4 real big logs. Something like that. I think that'll work. Happy, happy. Let me get these holes drilled and this thing painted. There it is. Holes drilled and painted. Awaiting hardware. Aw, treasures from Amazon. Looky, 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 looky. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yes. T-nuts. Dude, come out of there. Too loud. Well, those look good. Yeah, that's all you see in the bed when the arm's not in there. Perfect. They're just flush. See it? Yeah. Yar, but there be trouble afoot. Oops. I took out those screws as sample screws and added an inch for what I needed for the 3/4 inch plywood. And the little, gap of being up on the ridge here. All these, for all the other holes, are already the 2 inch. Dang it. Back to Amazon. Okay, boys, this is where we're at. I don't think that's looking too bad. We're gonna see. I need to get some weight on this thing. Well, I can't take it. I gotta test. I don't have a log, but putting the tongs on the other rope is nothing. Let's see if it lifts this in there. Let's see if I can get you in a good spot. Up. I'm not lifting, I'm just helping get it around the edge of the tailgate here. Oh, it worked. Awesome. Huh? There it is. I'm trying to be quiet because it's late at night and people are sleeping. But anywho, not bad, eh? I think that will work. Let's take it back out. Easy. Gotta move you, camera. Oopsie daisy. Boop. That's it. Flip switch off. The gate up. Boom. Thanks for watching. Well, just to be clear, I didn't put in the right bolts. I had some long skinny bolts that went through the hole without engaging the thread. This was just for testing, so I ordered some more correct length bolts from Amazon, and they'll be here 2 days. These worked out good. When this is out, I was gonna go with the Phillips, but I think forget that. Something tells me to get rusty and they'll strip and just create a nightmare. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with the hex-headed stainless. I looked with the camera underneath. They don't poke down and get in the plastic. They're just flush with the T-nut on the bottom like they're supposed to be, because you know the bed makes a little grooves in it. One of those ended up in the space, so you could see how far the bolt was coming out the T-nut. So all is good. This worked out better than I ever would have thought. And I already had the battery. I already had the lift. I already had the plywood, as a matter of fact. And I already had the paint. I just had to get fasteners. So, logging's gonna be fun now. Can't wait. Well, I guess the only way to do anything now is go pick up a log. there. See what happens. Get the big boy picker. It's gonna work. Gonna find out. Let's go get one of these big glonkadonkers. Okay, ready? Oh, well, hold on. My bigger forks are coming, but they ain't here yet. This is supposed to be able to handle, ew, is that gonna fall? It's supposed to be able to handle 18-inch diameter logs. I'll take that. Heck yeah, I'll take that.
So I don't know if we can handle this diameter log. It will with the other tongs, but you know what I'm saying. Oh, whoops. Trying to break it already. Yeah, okay. That battery sounds pissed. That's what it used. Whole boat battery came free with the boat. So it may quit on us. But I got an idea. I have 4 lithium 12-volt batteries for those little scooters. Well, just. Alright, there's one of them. Alright, let me get out of the way. Ouch. Well, I could just do this all day long. I bet that battery is weak. I almost want to go hook up the other battery just to try it. In case it decides to do anything ignorant.
Heck yeah. All right, that's it. That's about as easy as it gets. Just so we know what we're talking about here, Hold on, let me get tape measure. So these are, oh, I don't know, 16 in diameter. They are not by any means the biggest. I've had to wrestle into this UTV. I think we had the 36-inch bar on the chainsaw to get through one trunk, so that's the point. Those real big logs, I'll be able to get, if I have to, one at a time, but I'll be able to get them down the hill to where I can split them. So I don't know how much that weighs and put on a scale. It's not that bad, but like I said before, the lift can only do 250 pounds, which is probably what all the rest of this hardware could only handle at best. So it's all good. It's a nice day. It was supposed to be thunderstorms, so I'm gonna get after it. See how many of these things I can get loaded.